Welcome to Storytale's Hub. Every night she snuck out of the palace, every night she met him in the forbidden forest. But nobody knew the fox had a secret that would change everything forever. Once upon a time, there was a breathtaking kingdom that looked like it had been dipped straight into the colors of spring. Folks called it Blossom Ridge. The valleys around it stayed blooming year-round, like nature was showing off a little. Rivers shimmered under the moonlight like liquid silver, and the scent of roses drifted through the air 24/7. Right in the center of it all stood a massive palace carved from white marble, with golden domes shining on top of tall, elegant towers. Living inside that palace was a bright-eyed princess named Aria. She was the only daughter of Emperor Rowan and Queen Celeste, and to them, she wasn't just royalty, she was their whole world. Aria wasn't only beautiful, she was warm-hearted, always laughing, and just a tiny bit of a troublemaker. Some days she'd climb trees like it was no big deal. Other days she'd kick off her shoes and sprint barefoot through the gardens, not caring one bit about royal rules. And if she spotted butterflies, game over. She'd chase them around, giggling like she had all the time in the world. Honestly, it felt like nature itself was vibing with her. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and painted the sky in soft gold, Aria stood by her window. Beyond the palace gates stretched a thick, shadowy forest. People called it Black Hollow, but mostly they called it off-limits. The rumors were wild. They said strange spirits and magical creatures lived in there. And anyone who wandered too deep, they never came back. The Emperor had made it crystal clear. Nobody goes near that forest, ever. But Aria didn't feel scared, not even a little. Instead, her curiosity kicked in hard. She stared at the dark trees swaying in the distance and whispered softly to herself, "This place doesn't look scary, it just looks kinda lonely." That night, under a full glowing moon, Aria made up her mind. She draped herself in a soft navy blue cloak, eased open her window, and slipped outside without a sound. The cool night air brushed her cheeks, sending a little shiver of excitement down her spine. She tiptoed through the palace gardens. The guards were snoring away, and she quietly slipped past the main gate, heading straight for Black Hollow. Moonlight lit her path, and the sweet scent of wildflowers danced in the air. The gentle rustle of the trees almost sounded like they were whispering her name. It felt like stepping right into a storybook. The forest was dark but alive with magic. Fireflies flickered everywhere like tiny stars scattered across the ground. Moonlight sparkled on the flowers, and a little stream bubbled softly beneath the trees. Suddenly something moved near the water. A sleek red fox peeked out from behind a bush, its fur shining like burnished copper. "Whoa, you are stunning," Aria whispered. The fox tilted its head, its amber eyes warm and curious, not a hint of threat. She crouched a little and whispered gently, "Hey there, you're not gonna hurt me, are you?" The fox stepped closer, sniffing the air, as if deciding whether to trust her. Aria stretched out her hand slowly. The fox sniffed it and then pressed its head against her palm. "You're adorable. Wanna be friends?" The fox wagged its bushy tail like a slow nod. Aria laughed softly. "Perfect. Then it's official, we're friends. I'm gonna call you Rusty." And just like that, the magical friendship between a princess and a fox became the best-kept secret of Black Hollow. Every single night, Aria would sneak out of Blossom Ridge Palace to see Rusty. She told him everything, her wild dreams, her random thoughts, the palace drama, the flowers she loved, the rules she secretly hated. Rusty never spoke, obviously, but he listened, really listened. Sometimes he'd tilt his head, sometimes he'd nudge her hand. Sometimes he'd just sit there like, "Yeah, I got you." And honestly, Aria had never felt more understood. Some nights Rusty would let her climb onto his back, and he'd guide her deeper into the forest. They'd find hidden waterfalls glowing under moonlight, wide fields covered in silver-lit wildflowers, places that felt straight out of a fantasy movie. For the first time in her life, Aria felt completely free, but then one night, everything flipped. A palace guard named Liam spotted her slipping out and decided to follow her. What he saw, the Princess of Blossom Ridge laughing beside a wild fox in the middle of Black Hollow, that didn't sit well. By morning, the Emperor knew. When Emperor Rowan and Queen Celeste heard their daughter was secretly meeting a wild animal in the Forbidden Forest, panic hit instantly. "Capture it! the Emperor ordered. Immediately, I will not risk my daughter's safety. That afternoon, while Rusty rested near the riverbank, soldiers surrounded him. He tried to run, but there were too many of them. A net was thrown, ropes tightened, he was taken, locked away in the palace dungeons. That night, Arya ran into the forest like always. Rusty, she called softly. Silence. Okay, not funny. Nothing. She searched the stream, the waterfall, the flower fields. He was gone. And for the first time, Black Hollow actually felt empty. Crying, she returned to the palace. The next morning, she found out the truth. They captured him, she gasped, her voice breaking. Why would you do that? He never hurt anyone. The Emperor's voice softened. Arya, he's a wild animal. I did this to protect you. She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. He's not just an animal, he's my best friend. From that day on, Arya changed. She stopped laughing, stopped running through gardens, stopped singing. She barely spoke. Every night she stood at her window, staring toward Black Hollow, whispering, Rusty, I miss you. Days passed, then weeks. Grief wrapped around her like winter. Doctors came and went, offering medicines, advice, reassurances. Nothing worked. Finally, one evening, the Emperor looked at his daughter, pale, silent, fading, and his heart broke. Release the fox, he said quietly, now. The next morning, Rusty was brought into the palace courtyard. Arya, weak but determined, rushed forward the moment she saw him. Where have you been? She cried, dropping to her knees beside him. I missed you so much. Rusty pressed his head against her chest, and then something impossible happened. Her tears fell onto his fur. A soft glow began to spread across his body, at first faint, then brighter. The courtyard filled with golden light. The fox's form shifted, stretched, transformed, and where Rusty once stood now, stood a young man, tall, strong, with kind, deep eyes and a familiar, gentle smile. Arya froze. Okay, what just happened? She whispered. The young man smiled softly. I always liked the name you gave me. My name is Prince Rowan Vale, heir to the kingdom of Lunaris. My stepmother, Queen Seraphine, cast a spell on me so I could never inherit the throne. Only tears of true love could break it. He looked at her with gratitude shining in his eyes. And your tears set me free. Arya's voice trembled. So you were Rusty this whole time. He nodded gently. Yes, you gave light to a life that felt completely alone. The Emperor and Queen stepped forward, stunned but relieved. Prince Rowan Vale knelt before Arya. You gave me back my freedom, my future, and my heart, he said softly. Will you stand beside me, not just as my queen, but as my partner? Tears shimmered in Arya's eyes. Yes, she whispered, always. And just like that, joy exploded across Blossom Ridge. Trumpets blared, bells rang, doves soared into the sky. The two kingdoms united. Prince Rowan's father restored order in Lunaris, ending Queen Seraphine's dark rule once and for all. Black Hollow was no longer feared. It became a place of wonder. Under glowing lanterns and silver moonlight, Arya and Rowan were married. Fireworks lit the sky, flowers rained from balconies, laughter echoed everywhere. Rowan leaned close and whispered, You once called me Rusty in friendship. Now that name means everything to me. Arya smiled through happy tears. Their love didn't just break a spell, it rewrote destiny. And from that day on, Blossom Ridge and Lunaris stood united not in fear, but in light. Sometimes the most magical friendships appear when we least expect them. If Arya and Rusty's story touched your heart, leave a heart in the comments, and don't forget to follow Story Tales Hub for more magical stories every week. Now tell us something. If you were in Arya's place, would you dare to enter the mysterious Black Hollow Forest? Type yes if you would, or no if you would stay in the palace. And follow Story Tales Hub for more magical adventures.